my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I am one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, the year of the stitch up, and I don't know whether every time I do these picks, I sort of stitch myself up. But Dave, we're going back to 1990. This is an American comedy starring Carlos Estevez, Dave, or Carl, as he's known in some circles, as his character in this, Emilio Estevez, who also directed it and wrote it, Dave. And it stars the legendary Keith David. The fight with Roddy Piper still amongst whatever it is, a great fight that, and also Leslie Hope. So we're going back to 1990, Dave, my sweet spot. I remember watching this quite a lot. This is Men at Work, about two garbage men who, I don't know what they do. But anyway, Dave, do you remember seeing this one?
So I think I've seen this one once, and I was a big fan. You know, you had Charlie Sheen was getting quite big at this time, or like say Carlos, Emilio Estevez as well. I remember, because it's not like today where you can just go on fucking Google or ChatGPT or whatever and just ask someone, are these related? But I remember someone mentioning it to me that they're brothers, and in my young little mind, I'm thinking, but he's Sheen and he's Estevez. How can that possibly work? You know, so. But I thought maybe they're stepbrothers or something. But anyway, yeah, it's much easier to find that information now and the whole history of changing the name. But yeah, I mean, I was a big fan of these two. I don't particularly remember either enjoying it or not enjoying it. I feel like around this time I would have enjoyed it. Like, it's a bit silly, and you know, they both have that star power, don't they? There's just something about them when they're on the screen, and I think maybe a bin man is you know, better suited for Emilio Estevez than the so-called hard man. What was that Stephen King you made me watch?
Oh,
Maximum Overdrive.
Oh my god, double crack of this year.
The ex-con, you know, the hard man, Emilio Estevez. But yeah, so would have definitely enjoyed it. But like I say, not one of those that I'd have rewatched over and over. It just has a familiarity to me. And when I was watching it, it's not like I could remember each scene coming up. So yeah, just very kind of hazy there. But what about yourself?
Well, I think for me, this was like this whole sort of Ferris Bueller's Day Off, seeing him in that, thinking he was cool as hell. Then Young Guns. I love both Young Guns movies, Dave. I must admit. I don't think we've done the second one.
We haven't done the second one.
No, and I do. And they're supposed to be doing a third one, aren't they? With Emilio Estevez is written it, and stuff. So that's going to be interesting, like years later. But I did love them movies, and then like we've done the Rookie on here, which I did. So I think, which I picked. I think there's a few Charlie Sheen movies, and we did. What was that one? The thing with the car, Dave. We did as well. That wasn't my pick, was it? Was it last year we did that? It was a Firebird, wasn't it, in the car? Oh, God, it was... Anyway, we did it, didn't we? It's a Charlie Sheen one, and he was the lead again. It was a bit like a sci-fi type one, wasn't it? But
The Wraith.
That's it, the Wraith. Yeah, the car's led synonymous with anything else. But he just a little bit of a Charlie Sheen fan, I suppose, around this time. Sort of watched everything that he was in. But like you, I remember someone saying they're brothers, but I always thought they were half brothers, but they're not. They're genuine. Charlie Sheen's the youngest of three lads, and he's got a younger sister, and Emilio's the oldest. So it was always that thing where he adopted his dad's stage name because he didn't have Estevez. I think I said this because he thought that Spanish sort of Mexican descent actors actually they never got proper parts, did they? And then Emilio was like, no, I'm keeping my proper name. So it was always weird them having different names, but they were actually genuinely, brothers, same mother and father. And then, because I've watched that Charlie Sheen documentary on Netflix, I don't know if you've seen it. It's really interesting for about half an hour. And then it's just fucking Charlie Sheen talking to the camera. I found it fucking boring. But the first half hour about their life and how they became into acting with the dad. And the way they got into things is really. They've got home videos. They were filming almost like sort of doing selfies and home videos before it was a thing in like I suppose the 70s and stuff. There's loads of home videos of them acting and pissing about. So it was really interesting how close we all are as a family. But yeah, I was the same. Like, these aren't brothers. And when I said it to Sam, I said to Sam the other week, I went, yeah, I'm doing, I think it was when they did Maximum Overdrive. And then I said to her, I think I'm going to pick Men at Work. And she went, what's that? And then I played the trailer, Pump Up Jam. And she's like, I said, you know they're brothers, don't you? And she went, they're not. I'm like, what? You didn't know after all these years? They're brothers. I said, they're genuine, not half brothers. They are brothers. And anyway, then I'm like fucking Nostradamus then, Dave. I'm not predicting. I'm telling her all this not Nostradamus. I'm like Wikipedia, Nostradamus. I couldn't predict fucking anything. But I'm telling her all this knowledge, and she's like, I've got some boring knowledge. I was like, when you don't have research some shit, we both do. We go down some rabbit hole, don't they? She can look at me as something, and we're watching a film, and she knows I'm on my phone looking at like not the ending, but what if it's based on a true
trivia
story. Yeah, the trivia. The worst thing I do is a proper ADD thing is the true story movie. If I'm watching it, I'm into it, and I'm like, and it'll go, this didn't happen in real life, and then at the end of it, Sam's going, shut the fuck up, because I know you're going to tell me. This is that halfway through the movie. This didn't happen, because you used to do it all the time, and don't realize being a dick. So anyway, I told her all this knowledge, and she's like, well, I didn't even know that. I said, yeah, 100%. Can't you tell Emilio Estevez looks like Martin Sheen? He's more looks like him than Charlie Sheen. He's absolutely double of him, isn't it? But anyway, so I've watched this once or twice, I think. And I think the first time I watched it, I really enjoyed it. The second time was probably about, maybe 20 odd years ago, but I've never seen it on UK TV since. It's not something that comes about, but I know it's proper slated, even to the point of Charlie Sheen is like apologized on stuff like Saturday Night Live for the Men at Work. But so I had to pick it. I thought, here's the stitch up. Even am I going to stitch myself up? I don't know. But then, yeah. Anyway, but that's my backstory on this one, Dave.
Nice. I mean, I do have a lot of respect for Emilio, that not changing the name and kind of staying true to his roots and everything. But I guess Charlie might have the last laugh when he's the one carted off by ice. So let's see how that one plays out. But Chris, should we get to our trailer?
Let's go.
They're two garbage men with big dreams, bad hair, and absolutely no idea what they're doing.
It's Men at Work, the movie that proved taking out the trash can somehow take 2 hours.
Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez, real-life brothers playing bin men who uncover a toxic waste conspiracy because apparently Ghostbusters was too expensive.
Yep, it's like Lethal Weapon if both leads had just failed the driving test and were grounded. I've got a sore throat. Keep going, Dave.
You fucking maniac. I remember last time. Armed with rubber gloves, shotguns, and 80s one-liners that were already out of date by 1990, they'll fight for justice, friendship, and whatever's left in the sandwich someone threw out that morning.
Don't even know hazardous and toxic waste is their acting choices.
It's got explosions, conspiracies, and a plot so thin it could fit inside a bin liner.
To be fair, the bin liners do more heavy lifting than half the cast. The gangsters especially.
Yeah. They're not just cleaning up the streets, they're accidentally saving the world.
One trash bag at a time, and somehow it's still less messy than Charlie Sheen's actual career.
Men at Work. When the going gets tough, the bin men got confused. Garbage collectors Carl Taylor and James St. James are infamous mischief makers in their local community, using the garbage as playthings and disturbing the peace. Local bike cop Mike harasses them frequently, but they are used to his antics and ignore him. However, they are placed on probation for their unprofessional attitude and are assigned an observer, their supervisor's brother-in-law, Lewis. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
This movie's fucking shit, Dave. I've got to say, I've not said this for ages. It is absolutely terrible. Honestly, it starts, and obviously the soundtrack, Pump Up the Jam, is a great tune. It's a proper 90s tune. I was about 11, 12 when this come out. I remember going to Alton Towers on Dave, fucking Alton Towers on the Altar Boy fucking trip with the girls from the choir as well, Dave, at 11 years old. We went to Alton Towers. It was pissing it down, and we were just allowed to just go on Alton Towers on our own and do whatever you wanted. No groups, no fucking people there, because it was like it was a thanks from the fucking church, Dave, and I'm getting more worried as I'm saying this. Like,
No, carry on.
Was the father saying Hail Marys as we fucking drove there on the coach? But I don't even want to know who he was sat next to. But I just remember going. I remember this was on the coach on like the radio, and Nana Cherry, you know, what's the name? Cherry song. It was dead famous. Buffalo Stance, is it?
That's it. Yeah.
Or Buffalo Dance, whatever it was called. But yeah, I remember they were the two songs were literally on a loop all the way there. But Pump Up the Jam was a great tune. So you watch the trailer, you think, fucking hell, it's great music, this. And it starts, and I'm like, oh my God, it's a fucking eco-warrior fucking movie. I was waiting for the turtles to appear, Dave, because the ooze had gone down the fucking drains. I never remembered that this movie is based on some toxic waste. I'd never, ever, Emilio Estevez has wrote this movie, and he's directed it. And I read somewhere, you probably read it yourself, that John Hughes was supposed to be on board. And he's like, yeah, Emilio Estevez was just a step ahead of me. He could even act. And I'm like, I don't know whether he does though, John. I'll be honest with you. Because this movie, and Charlie Sheen apparently forced himself into the movie, didn't he? He read the script and the screenplay, and he's like, yeah, I want to be in a comedy. It's a terrible movie. And I'm questioning it, Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen as actors, Dave, because I know in Billy the Kid, in Young Guns 2 especially, he's brilliant, and he's that like really stupid, childlike. Like, I loved his character in Young Guns. I did, but everything else, I was really having like a moment after this, thinking, I don't think I've seen any movie that these two have been in, other than people say Platoon actually for Sheen, won't they? But they probably Platoon.
Yeah,
I've never seen
Hot Shots.
Hot Shots.
Year after this.
Yeah, Hot Shots. Yeah, that was a silly one as well. But I mean, like proper acting, where you go the good actors, because really, let's be honest, they've both got into fucking acting off the back of the dad. The dad's a good actor. He still acts. He's been in all sorts of different things. And these two are just a couple of spoiled little brats who are just being able to do whatever they want, because this film is fucking terrible. And the start of it, it's like, they're playing up to like they don't want to do this job. They want to be surfers. He wakes up next to that girl at 5 a.m, which have got to be fair, Dave. That radio's unbelievably works well. That wakes him up every morning. Unbelievable how loud it is with a girl, and leaves his girlfriend at 5 o'clock on the fucking beach while he goes off to work. And honestly, Charlie Sheen's George McFly, but 30 years in front. He's a fucking peeping Tom. And nobody gives a fuck. He's fucking there eyeing up the women. He's going on about that whole monologue about that woman, Leslie Hope, and he's going, oh yeah, you've got a nice fucking Chianti there, and or whatever he's saying. I'm like, you fucking weirdo. And then she shuts the curtain, and then he looks at another bloke who's looking at him, and I'm like, yeah, where's the funny? Where's the jokes? You're just coming across as a fucking perv, to be honest, mate, with your fucking shit mullet. Honestly, Dave, I was fuming watching this. I'll be honest, as you can tell, it's absolutely shit. It really, and it ends up being like fucking Weekend at Bernie's, done it as well, which I forgot.
Oh yeah.
Terrible movie.
I mean, so let's talk about that one, because this is the year after Weekend at Bernie's, and I saw that, and I'm like, I'm also getting the feeling, because I do genuinely like Emilio Estevez. I think Breakfast Club, you're saying about other things, maybe not seen him in, but I think we need to watch that at some point. But I did start to get the feeling of, oh, you're just a bit of a fucking blagger. The acting is off. I mean, comedy, I don't know what is there. I don't know if it's one of those things. It's like the Ferris Bueller effect, where at the time it was great, but you're like looking back at it now, and has comedy changed? Are we just older or what? But there's something off. there is nothing funny about this movie at all. I see the one caveat, the tiny little thing, and I think I do remember this, but more from the trailer, is the golf clap. You know, when they do the sort of golf clap. And I'm contextualizing it in 1990. I think I do remember that bit, and I would have found that quite funny, you know, just a bit cheeky. But that's it. Most of it is just really poor. And apparently he wrote this because he was, trying to write something and looked out, and the garbage men were picking up the garbage or whatever. And that, I was thinking, yeah, you're just fucking out there partying or something, I bet. And then you just like, I need to turn something in. Oh yeah, I saw some garbage men. Yeah, it's like a buddy cop movie, but they're garbage men. And I tell you what was interesting, like not entertaining, but just interesting to look back about how kind of climate conscious this time. I mean, do you remember, did you ever see like the Captain Planet cartoon? That was like a thing in the late 80s, wasn't it? And I think early 90s in my memory. And like everyone was like thinking about the ozone layer, and you need to protect the environment, and that is definitely front and center in this one. But I think the opening to the movie where they're just pissing about, like I'm not really buying it at all. And then you've got the cops there who I'm like, why are you trying to shake them down? Like, have you got nothing better to do, like apart from ride around on your bike? And then they've got these other garbage men who are like their nemesis, and they're trying to prank and out prank each other. And again, it's just like I don't know what I'm seeing here. And you've called it out already, but fucking peeping Tom, Charlie Sheen, fuck me, are we supposed to be rooting for this guy? Because he's just, I mean, that has not aged well at all.
And you're right about the Ferris Bueller. It's a good thing that we've had this with different videos where people are different films where people, you think of the hero, like say the Ferris Bueller one's the best. And when I watched it, I was like, oh, he's not that likable, really. I think that's just maybe with age. As a kid, he was like the anti-hero, wasn't he? With these two, there's nothing likable about them, is there? They're just like, they're doing this sort of buddy cop sort of thing. And I don't get it. I honestly don't get it, like what we're aiming for. And when you've got like the boss who's like, right, I'm putting you with my brother-in-law, and Lewis is an absolute nut job, innit? Like he's breaking every law. He chins Charlie Sheen, and then obviously, Carl has shot the guy up the arse because he's been horrible to the woman, the senator guy or whatever he is. Or, he's about to get in office, and he's got the tapes on the toxic waste fucking warriors and all this. And then he shoots him in the arse because he's been horrible to the woman. And the next thing is he gets strangled. So the two guys come in, he gets strangled, and then there it is. So it's like, what is the point of this? Because when they find his dead body, they've done nothing wrong.
Yeah.
But Keith David's character just fucking Lewis just picks the body up, and then them weird security beach police that they then genuinely come, and he puts a cowboy hat on. He's from Texas. I'm like, just say you found the dead body in the waste. You've not killed him. It's not you. He even says to them both, he's been strangled. At that point, Charlie Sheen should be saying, oh, fucking hell, I didn't do it, Carl. But no, they carry on this whole weekend at Bernie's thing. It's absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Honestly, there's just nothing redeemable. And that whole thing with Lewis, who's like this ex-Vietnam vet, just doesn't wash, does it really? Because you sort of like, it doesn't make sense why you would put him on the payroll to watch two garbage guys who were having a few complaints because they're throwing bins and rolling bowling balls. And then we've got this whole like cat and mouse thing for the rest of the movie where none of them are redeemable, but somehow they're the heroes. It is an utterly terrible movie.
It is. I will say, I do think Keith David playing Lewis is probably the best thing in the movie. He breaks the fourth wall at one point, and he gives a good performance given what he's got around him. So I think he outshines Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez. But I mean, it's a low bar, to be honest. And again, I just don't feel like any of the comedy really landed. And again, it was such a fucking blag to have a Weekend at Bernie's type sequence right after the Weekend at Bernie's movie came out the year before. But what about the guys, their fellow pranksters, the other garbage men, when they opened the locker? And I don't know how much shit was in there, but it looked like a lot of shit, and all blew up in their faces. And it's like, oh, fucking hell. And I know I'm supposed to like feel that's funny. You look at Biff in Back to the Future, I hate manure. He gets done with manure, but there's something weird when it's like really sloppy, what looks like human shit. And it's not funny, and it's just fucking rank and making me gag.
Yeah, but in its way, they've got the towels on. They come out like they've got, it's just like, I get what they're going for. It's this like, it's almost, it sounds silly, but it's not like a Lethal Weapon. But you've got this like that. This is when the buddy cop stuff was out, wasn't it? You've got this like the buddy movies with these loads of them around this time. I get it, but also I also like see the idea and the vision. I think Keith David's probably the best character in the movie, but his ethics and morals just don't make any sense, because when they take the senator guy back to the apartment and he orders the pizza, then the pizza guy gets fucking taken out because he sees Emilio Estevez walking him round in like the wheelchair, and he's there with the mask thing on, and I'm just like, when am I supposed to, I'm laughing now, but when am I supposed to laugh, and when am I supposed to take it seriously that you're gonna you're gonna like get me as someone watching it? Because honestly, I know he's 35 years old. I kept thinking like, well, when you've shown it to people who honestly thought this was funny, there's got to have been test audiences, haven't there? There's got to have been different endings. I dread to think how bad this would have been at the test side of it, Dave. I'd really, really would have done. It's really, really strange, like the way this fucking all comes together as a movie, because there's no reason for Carl and whatever Emilio Estevez's character is called,
James St. James.
Same St. James. There's no reason for them to be in this predicament. They're just a pair of like cocky arseholes who want to run a surf shop, don't they? But they're bin men. And all the way through, and I know Lewis sort of drags them along and they end up sort of going with him. But even when they're trying to like solve the case of everything and get it, it's like, but you've gone too far. You're both going down for 20 years here, because this is the body of a senator who's died. And even this whole tape thing and everything with the girl and that. And then Charlie Sheen's going on like he's some guru, isn't he, just to get her in bed. Well, that's terrible, Dave, isn't it? It's like, you think of it and go, yeah, I don't think morally, Charlie or Carl, that's not a great look for you, pal. But he goes with it. He puts his little golf jumper on and his mullet and everything. Yeah, it's bizarre. It really is.
I guess, though, we're in that time, aren't we, where, you've got Baywatch as well. So you take people whose occupation is to stop people from drowning, but you also make them crime investigators.
Yeah.
And also hard as nails. So like you can get Hasselhoff taking down Lauren Avedon. You just get that ridiculousness. So they do end up in this sort of situation where they're going up against the mob, or these people who are trying to dump all the toxic waste. But I forgive that. But you say about the test audiences, and that's where I think again you sort of. It might not be the case, but I can't help but feel at some point someone's gone, this is fucking shit, this is. Yeah, but is that their dad's Martin Sheen? So you can't say no. Because, it's just really not good, is it? And the whole thing with Susan, she finds mulleted fucking Charlie Sheen on the floor there. And it's like, oh, do you fancy, coming into my apartment and let's crack open this wine. And I just didn't really buy their kind of relationship either.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, because even when she's supposed to have had a bit with the senator as well, and Charlie Sheen looks like a dick, doesn't he? He looks like a golf pro when he's got all that gear on. He does, doesn't he? I just don't get how we as the audience are supposed to just going off the charisma of them both, how we're supposed to go, oh, this is excellent, oh, it's really funny. And I can see in the reviews on IMDb, people are saying like, oh, it's a great movie, oh, it's a brilliant movie. And I'm like, but it's not. There's at no point is good. Even Emilio Estevez, who's trying to be funny in certain bits, he's got a little bit more charisma than Charlie Sheen, I think, in it.
Yeah.
But the whole thing when the hitman are after him and they get the taser and everything, and then they put the cops on the roundabout, like, and I'm like, oh, come on. This is like Police Academy stuff we saw a few years ago, isn't it? You know, like they're insinuating that they're sort of together on a roundabout, and everyone just leaves them there all night handcuffed, don't they? A kid's fucking playground, and these two guys there in the fucking briefs. And I'm like, come on.
That hasn't sort of dated that well, is it? It's the classic old kind of homophobic joke of like two blokes, you know, half naked. It's like, oh, no, sorry, I didn't want to, you know, disturb any. No, it's not that. And it's like, ho, 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 how we laughed. So yeah, yeah, it's not the worst thing about the movie, but I think that dates it somewhat as well.
Yeah, it does. It genuinely does. But I think there was a lot of movies around this time with this sort of DNA, weren't there? As I said, the same setup, the same silliness. We've covered loads of these movies on the podcast, haven't we? Like where they're very similar to this type of movie. But I think even the payoff, Dave, at like the end of it, and it's sort of like, you know, they're put in the landfill and I'm just like, nothing's going to happen, is it really? Let's be honest, it's not going to happen. And fucking Charlie Sheen just turns into a bit of a Rambo, doesn't he? Like there's some terrible telegraph punches at this point, isn't there? And
yeah,
honestly, at the end, it was almost Predator style of hidey high. They're all laughing at the end. And I'm like, Lewis is the one who should be taken off. He's got you into this more than anything because he picked the dead body up and said he's been strangled. That's the end of it. He should have been, we just found a dead body. But no, they play up this whole thing. They put him in the vehicle, don't they? I mean, there's one point, I'll give him credit. The guy who's dead, which is brilliant, he does move his eyes. Like, honestly, he moves his eyes as they...
Oh, I missed that.
Jack Berger, there's a bit where they're in like the vehicle and he's like looking at the camera and there's a bit where Emilio Estevez breaks the fourth wall. And he does the same. He sort of moves his eyes and then looks at the camera and he's literally a blink and you'll miss it. And I'm like, I think even he's fucking bored of playing a dead corpse for 90 minutes. Like I was bored watching it. But yeah, I have absolutely fucking stitched myself this week, Dave. I mean, overall, I think this is probably one of the worst movies I've picked this year because he's got such a big budget and they turn profit on it, which makes it even worse. But what a terrible movie.
I think that's purely around the names, though, isn't it? That's what it is. I mean, I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes. It's got 30%, but it's got, for the audience rating, it's got 45%. So almost like 50-50. People like it and people don't like it. So I'm watching it and I just don't get what they're seeing. And again, I think the star quality, the charisma of Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen, I think should pull it through. And of course, Keith David, like I say, I think he's the best thing in the movie, but it should pull it through. And maybe people are latching onto that, but yeah, all of the comedy falls flat, and the eco warrior message, I think, you know, it falls flat as well. It does. You mentioned the Ninja Turtles. I mean, it does seem like the plot of a Ninja Turtles kind of movie or episode or something. So yeah, I think you've done your job in terms of the stitch up. I mean, you stitch up yourself, but also you have stitched up me as well, because this was grueling to get through. I mean, it wasn't a long movie, but it felt really long. I can't really think of anything that would make me go back and watch this one again.
No, not at all. I apologise, David. Apologise to everyone else because I'd love to know if somebody actually enjoys this. I really would, because it's terrible. And it's one of them things where it's like, yep, we've watched it. But then I know next week is your pick, and I'm sort of like, oh, Dave, don't do this to me. What have I done to you? Because I know sometimes we react, don't we? And you will react to what I've picked. And that's where I'm panicking a bit, thinking like, what have we got next week?
Now, why would you think I would do that? Why would you? We'll get onto my pick soon enough. Don't worry about it.
At some point, we need to flip the script because you go after me. It's like I'm like dead smug going, I've got you, Dave. But I stitch myself up with this 100%. 100% stitch
like the boomerang pick.
Yeah. It's like reading the scripts of the trailers. I just don't read them until literally that second. And then I'm like, oh, shit. And that's what, as I'm watching this, I'm thinking, hang on a minute, I should have been a bit nicer. But then again, when I have been nice, you've still stitched me. So anything else, Dave, before we get into our scores?
No, I think we've said everything, really. I think, and again, I would love to know. So write into us if you did find enjoyment out of this. There are clearly, 50% ish of the movie watching population who enjoy this, and tell us what you're seeing. Why is this a good movie? Because again, even the nostalgia going back to that time and the California setting, there's lots of reasons why I should have enjoyed this, but really didn't. But I suppose I should shut up and get into the final review.
Let's go. So, Dave, I apologise to you. I'm apologising to myself. This is a terrible, terrible movie. And I think sometimes I've said this, where when you watch a movie that's like had a budget, it's got a bit more of a cast where you're expecting something. I was hoping it'd be in the middle. I must admit, I was thinking it's got to be Hill Valley. This is like in the middle. It's just silly. And I remember I have proper fond memories of watching this, thinking it was a good movie. But then when I watched it again, I just didn't remember any of it. I'm like, God, Emilio Estevez has written this. We put on the back of with a crayon on the back of a piece of card or something, because it's not original. He's stolen stuff from other movies. I don't know, a lot of movies have inspiration from different things, but this has just got a terrible DNA of around this time, not in a good way for the sort of the buddy cop thing. And it just feels like a self-indulgent mess, to be honest. And Keith Davies, the best thing about the movie, even he can't save it. So it's got to go to Alderaan, Dave. It is absolutely awful, this movie. I just cannot be doing with it. I'll never watch it again. I apologise. I'm going to go and sit in a corner and look at a wall for the next couple of hours. So, Dave, what say you, my friend?
Like Kingpin. So, yeah, I see. I think you summed it up really nicely there. I think they had all of the ingredients to be able to make a really good movie, and it's just fallen flat. I think just everything about it is just, it's just not entertaining. And I don't think there's many movies that I can think back to which have had an expectation. I mean, like say the two lead characters in there, you got Keith David as well. I feel like I should have really enjoyed this, but no, it's just pretty terrible. And it's not even like the premise of taking, I mean, you say about, taking inspiration, but there is a difference between that and plagiarism. So, I think, he's just taken the idea of that buddy cop movie, which was huge around this time, wasn't it? The kind of late 80s going into 90. It was massive. You had the likes of Lethal Weapon, Beverly Hills Cop, 48 Hours, all these sort of great buddy cop movies. And it's like, oh, I'm gonna change it, because we're not going to be cops. We're going to be trash men. Because I'm just literally sat here in the morning watching people pick up the trash, and I've got nothing else. So yeah, utterly awful movie. I thought the music was just very much of its time. So, I did appreciate, there's something about, bang on that 1990, 1991 time, the dance music that just, it's very, very distinctive. It's not even pinpointing it to a decade. You can literally pinpoint it to those 1 or 2 years. But so I guess part of me did enjoy that a little bit, but that is not enough, Chris, to save it from Alderaan, because this needs to go there, be blown up, and never seen again. Again, by me, if someone else gets enjoyment out of it, brilliant, knock yourself out. But I will never be watching this again. This is awful.
It truly is. It is truly awful. I can only apologise. And on the flip side, Dave, you're my closest friend. You're a great guy. I feel that next week you're going to go nicely and gentle on me. So what have you got for next week, my friend?
Well, you may have thought that. So, and if I was a bit of a see you next Tuesday, I might really try and pull out all the stops. Unfortunately, I am a see you next Tuesday. And so what I was thinking, I've shot and missed a few times. But again, for me, these are all experiments to try and really triangulate, what are the things that you do enjoy? What are the things that you hate? Because obviously the ongoing gag is, you hate sci-fi, even though most of your top movies are all science fiction based. But it's that specific type of movie. And I think where I've made a mistake before is I've gone for one specific type of genre. So let's say I've gone for sci-fi, or I've gone for sword and sorcery or something like that. This time, I am coupling up two things that I think you're not going to like. So this movie is a British... So we established a few weeks ago, I think, that you just have this thing. You just don't buy it when it's a British movie. Low budget horror movie. Now, the one thing that might screw up my plans is it gets a little bit saucy, and there are some boobicles in there as well. So that's another variable that is in there. But Chris, we are going back to 1988, and this film is called The Lair of the White Worm. Now let's get into the trailer.
You wanker had Spaceballs down as well. I've just seen it now.
Oh, that was gonna be my,
oh right, I thought that was a state.
No, that wasn't the old switcheroo. It was genuinely I was gonna do that. Oops, I'm not put the trailer.
Got it right.
That's the trailer.
From the director of Altered States and the creator of Dracula comes a new classic thriller with a bite. Ken Russell's The Lair of the White Worm, starring Sammy Davis of Hope and Glory, Catherine Oxenberg from TV's Dynasty, Amanda Donahoe, and Hugh Grant of Maurice. In a remote corner of present-day England, a young archaeologist named Angus Flint unearths a mysterious ancient skull and uncovers a horrifying pagan mysticism. When the skull suddenly disappears, strange things start to happen. And Angus begins to suspect the bizarre and serpentine Lady Sylvia Marsh. Together with his friends Mary and Lord James Dampton, Angus sets out to destroy the horrible White Worm and his evil worshippers before they make a living sacrifice of the young Virgin Eve. Peter Travers of People magazine says The Lair of the White Worm is a hoot of a horror film. Variety calls it an original, fun-filled nightmare. And Stuart Klein of Fox Channel 5 says it's droll, kinky fun. See it. Slither into a labyrinth of terror and fun with the master of the bizarre, Ken Russell's The Lair of the White Worm.
Oh, thanks, mate. I deserve that, though, after Men at Work. So. Oh my!
Like I say, there is a bit of sauciness in it, but let's see, classic British movie there.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, mate. Anyway, if you want to email us, the VHS Strikes Back at gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media at VHS Strikes Back. If you do want to support us, please get over to patreon.com/the VHS Strikes Back. So, the roll call of honor and a big thank you to Reese, Nick, Greg, Gareth, Mike, Lee, Helen, Dylan, Dan, Justin, Susan, Tim, Matt, Hales, Ken, Lucky Lulu Green, Herbs, Jack, Math, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys, for all your support. We do appreciate it. Now, Dave, what have you got to take us out with today, my friend?
Well, my first thought was to go with a bit of an Australian number. So, of course, the band Men at Work did Down Under, but I didn't take that. So what I decided to do, so if I think of bin men or dustmen, Chris, I think about being a kid as well and listening to, is it Lonnie Donegan? My Old Man's a Dustman. And what was interesting about that, you had a real influence of skiffle, which came across from the US, but it was picked up really big in the UK. And he had the likes of John Lennon, even before he met up with Paul McCartney. He was in a skiffle band. So I thought we would meld together, so I'd basically taken the My Old Man's a Dustman and but put it in a California setting. So we've got this weird kind of Californian British mix up. So this one is My Old Man's a Dustman.
Now my old man's a dustman, he drives a filthy truck. He surfs at dawn in Malibu and seldom gives a fuck. He wears them faded jeans, and shades that hide the pain of hauling bins in 90 heat and smelling like a drain. Oh, my old man's a dustman, he works the Cali shore with Charlie Sheen beside him shouting, one more bin I'm sure. They found a corpse one morning, dumped behind the van. Now crooks and cops and councilmen all want the dustman's plan. Now him and matey Carl, they're proper surfer lads. They chat up girls and muck about instead of bagging cads. But when they found that stiff mate, the game was getting hot. They twigged the mayor's crooked and the cops were in the plot. Oh, my old man's a dustman with more than trash to shift. He's sweeping up corruption on the late night downtown drift. They got a hostage, air guns and a mad bloke with a plan. It's chaos in the rubbish, just another shift, old man. So I says, Dad, you're hauling bins, not stopping bloody crime. He says, son, it's civic duty, plus we're on the clock this time. He cuffed a politician, then went back for lunch. That's heroism in it. Well, after 11 says a bunch. They saved the girl, they caught the crooks, they dumped them in the van. Then clocked off early Friday night, a dustman's master plan. They cracked the case, then cracked the beer while laughing in the sun. For two bin blokes from Malibu, they did the job well done. Oh, my old man's a dustman, he's daft but he's a gem. He cleaned up all of LA, then clocked in back again. So if you see that rubbish truck come rolling down the street, just wave to Sheen and Estevez, the dustman can't be beat. Wave to Sheen and Estevez, the dustman can't be beat.
So there you go, Chris. And did you ever listen to that as a kid, like the My Old Man's a Dustman?
Yeah, no, I did, Dave, and I've got to say that song was better than the movie. The tempo was right. I was tapping the songs from now on with my picks. I feel like I've just wasted another pick, Dave, on an absolute disastrous movie.
Well, it is Year of the Stitch Up, so I think that's done its job.
Yeah, brilliant.
But
brilliant.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about the comedy, because I went back and I was listening to My Old Man's a Dustman. And again, when he's playing it through, people are laughing at the lyrics, but I'm just like, maybe comedy's just changed, because there's nothing funny about it. With all the lyrics, he's talking about his hobnail boots, and he calls them daisy roots. It's just nothing fucking funny about it, but maybe he's just a miserable old bastard. But anyway, I can't wait for next week. I absolutely cannot wait. It is on Prime with the VHS curse. It will probably go off fairly soon, but yeah, nice and easy to watch this one. So Chris, thank you very much. And I don't have any sincerity about that, but about this pick. Thank you very much so for the chat. Thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters. I'll speak to you next time. Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's not.
We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on, wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Ain't so bad. Ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Maybe you crazy something. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I see you in 6 months.
I must break you.